Hey guys, I want to talk to you a little bit about literature reviews. Okay, I want to give you kind of my short spiel about how I usually see in literature reviews structured. Okay, so in literature reviews, we're really not, we're not just gathering information, but you're telling your reader what the literature says about your topic, right? So, and most of you guys, well, all of you guys have an independent and a dependent variable in your topic, in your research question, right? So, what we need to do is help the reader understand both of those things. So, your overall problem is usually your dependent variable, which is, your behavior that you're looking to change. Or your issue that you're looking to change, okay? So, and then your independent variable is your intervention or your proposed way of, determining if, that independent variable makes any change on the dependent variable. So, those are the two most important things that you're addressing in your literature review. So I think about it, and I've said this, maybe to some of you guys, so it may not be new information, but I think of literature reviews as an upside down triangle. So you have your, the big flat part up here, and then it funnels down into a triangle. And with that, you have your dependent and your independent variable up here on the top two corners of that triangle. Okay. So those are the two things that are most important, like I said. So you're going to talk about those in your literature. And a lot of times people start out with that dependent variable because it is your biggest issue that you're looking at, the overall problem statement, right? It's the overall problem issue you're looking at. So remember, talk about it from a broad perspective. Write as if that person knows nothing about your topic. I've used kind of depression as a topic example in some other videos. So, say your behavior you're looking to modify is depression. So, you need to help the reader understand what is depression. What does it mean to be depressed? What are what's the symptomology? Those kind of things. Help the reader really understand from a broad perspective what depression is. Okay, and then after you feel like you have that information, you start moving into your intervention. And if your particular intervention for depression, in my example, you talk about it, the effectiveness, other possible interventions and why this one is more effective, or, where it sits on the spectrum of the research. What does the research say about all of this? So you bring all that information. So you've told the reader about your two main topics, the top of the triangle. Now, at this point, when you look in the literature, you start to narrow. That's where the funnel comes down to the point at the end. And, with your research question, you're trying to prove that this could be an effective way of doing things, right? So, your research question, what you're trying to find out is, could this work? So, what does the literature say about it? Is there any other literature out there that says that your intervention may have an effect on your behavior? Like in the example I gave, if say my intervention is CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, on depression in maybe um, 18 to 35-year-olds, okay, um, females. How about that? We'll narrow it down a little bit more. Okay, so what does the research say about that? Is there anything out there that has shown that CBT is effective for depression in females? Is there anything that CBT is effective in depression at all with any age group? There may not be research out there for your specific question, but if there's research out there that's somewhat similar, maybe, or in a different population it worked, maybe it worked in elderly, but it hasn't been tested in 18 to 35-year-olds, like in my example. You're helping the reader understand how you got there, because this is really, the literature review is really a journey. You're helping the reader understand your issue, you're helping them understand your intervention and how you got to the point that you thought that these two would work together. You're taking them on a little journey. You're helping them understand what what the issue is and how you think this is effective. And this is really kind of like a sales pitch, if you think about it in that frame of mind. You're helping them sell your idea. Because if you look at, when you're looking at the literature out there and you read these, articles and in academic journals, you see the same format. Every author of those journals, those researchers have done that exact thing. They're taking you on a journey. They're helping you understand the issue. They're helping you understand the intervention and how they got there and all the research that kind of backs up their idea. So that marries into reliability and validity. Because if you have a strong literature review that says, hey, this is what the literature says about these topics. So, and it makes sense that my research question makes sense based on what the literature says about this issue, that this could be effective. So that increases, the reader is looking at it and saying, okay, well, I see how you got there. So I understand why you're doing this. So, it helps them get there a little quicker. Okay. Now, that's not the only thing that factors into reliability and validity. Your instrumentation and your methods and all that, are a big part of that. But this is the first step in reliability and validity. That's why when we were choosing the topics, it was so important that you look at the literature at that point, because you don't want to get to this point where you're trying to do your literature review and not be able to find enough literature on your topic, because then we have to kind of, if that's an issue, we may have to go back to the drawing board and try to come up with a new topic. And I know at this point in the game, you really don't want to do that. So, that's just kind of my quick and nerdy version of literature reviews and how, the frame of mind for that. Literature reviews are somewhat intimidating, and a lot of students have trouble with them, especially if you're, somewhat new in the program. It's very difficult. They do get easier the more you do. It's practice. It's just like, riding a bike. You got to get on there and try. So don't let it intimidate you. And if you have questions, please reach out and let me know. Okay? All right, you guys take care.